Alright, this is the second part to the transformations videos. The last video talked about the horizontal vertical shifts. In this video we're going to talk about the X flips, Y-axis flip, and the shrink or stretch. For an X-axis flip, you're going to see a negative being multiplied to the outside of the function. So just for example, if we have the function absolute value of x, and we have a negative being multiplied to the outside, that's going to be an x-axis flip. Now we know what the regular absolute value looks like. It looks like a V. And when we flip it over the x-axis being the horizontal line in the middle, it's going to look something like this. Okay. A y-axis flip is when we have a negative being multiplied on the inside. So again, if our equation was as the value of x, flip it on the y-axis, it would, well, since this graph is symmetric, it would look the same. But later we'll see problems where it won't be the same. And that all depends on the shifts that we do. And the shrink and stretch, this is when we have a number being multiplied to the function on the outside. So you're going to take the absolute value of that thing, and if it's less than 1, it's a shrink. If it's bigger than 1, it's a stretch. So I'll just give you a quick example. So let's say y equals negative 2/3 absolute value of x. So we would take the absolute value of negative 2/3, which is a positive 2/3, which in this case is less than 1. So this would be a shrink. So originally it looks something like this. After we shrink it, it's going to be something like this. Make it shorter and fatter. Alright, for these problems we're just going to sketch the graph and determine the transformations. So we're going to have all sorts of shifts, stretches, shrinks, flips, what have you. And okay, so for the first one, y equals absolute value of x minus 4. First off, what does the graph look like? Well, for an absolute value, the graph's going to be a V. And we're subtracting 4 on the outside. That means it's going to be a vertical shift down 4. So originally it starts out like a V. We're going to take our V and move it down 4 units. And there's no other transformations, so there we go. The x plus 2 squared, that's going to be a parabola or a U-shaped graph. Since we're adding 2 inside the parent function, that's going to be a horizontal shift to the left 2. So it started like a U right here, and we're going to move it to the left 2 units. And we don't have to be super specific for these guys, we're just describing the transformations. So I forgot to do that one. So this one was down 4. And this one was to the left 2. Alright, for the third one, y equals 3x squared plus 1. Well, we're adding 1 on the outside, so that right there is going to be a vertical shift up 1. And that 3 is being multiplied, so we're going to take the absolute value. Absolute value of 3 is 3. And that's bigger than 1, so this is going to be a stretch. Because the absolute value of 3 is bigger than 1. So again, that looks like a parabola, but we're going to, so we start with a U, we move it up 1, and then we're going to stretch it. So we're going to make it taller and skinnier than it was originally. Okay, so that's taller and skinnier than it was originally. Y equals negative absolute value of x. We don't have any stretches, we don't have any shrinks, we don't have any shifts. But what we do have an x-axis flip. Because we're multiplying by negative on the outside. Remember, the absolute value graph looks like a V. When we flip it on the x-axis, it's going to look like this. I'm running out of colors here. Next one we got negative x squared minus 3. So we have two transformations. We have a subtraction of 3 outside, and we have a negative being multiplied on the inside. And change it to orange. So the negative 3 on the outside is going to make us a vertical shift down 3. And the negative on the inside, so this is going to be a y-axis flip. So, this square tells us it's going to be a parabola. So we're going to move it down 3. So originally the parabola looks something like this. So I'm going to move it down 3 units. And flip it on the y-axis. But since it's symmetric, it didn't change much. Now, it's not always going to be like that. If we move it to the left or the right, then it'll be a little different. Okay, so for the last and final one, I'm going to change my color to purple. So we got 1, 2, 3 different shifts. We have a subtraction of 1 on the inside. That means we're going to go to the right 1. An addition of 2 on the outside, so it's going to be up 2. And then negative on the outside, which is the x flip. So we're going to go to the right one. Well, x flip comes up first always. So you originally looked like a V because it's absolute value. So we're going to flip it, move it to the right one, and up 2. Alright, now we'll do some more practice with these, recognizing which is which in class. But for now, I want you to give the next couple problems a try. On page 114, 17, and 22, you're just identifying the transformation that's occurring.